Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly report for the week of March 17th, and it's going to be all, well not all, but pretty much 99% about largemouth bass out here because we're really coming into the time of year that things are really hopping and everything's going in the right direction. Very briefly, I want to start off with two kind of business things. And the first thing is I want to put a shout out to all of the high school chairs out there. If you can contact me and leave your phone number, contact me at scooper9561032 at gmail.com. I'll put that up in the remarks there. Give me a hit and send me your number. I'd like to get a hold of you. I am really looking to do a lot more when it comes to supporting the local high school people, and I know the community that's been watching the program has reached out and they're asking to send donations, whether it's time, hopefully maybe some financial help, or a lot of the guys are donating gear, and I'd like to have a database with your information so that I can send these people to the right local clubs. So give me a shout out, and I'd like to talk to you and see how what you guys are doing and what you really need, and maybe just get a lot more involved in the youth fishing here in Northern California. That's number one. Number two, I'd like to really once again thank all of the people that are sending me weekly reports. I read them all. This is what it's going to be more and more about, having a few people that I really rely on, like Rob Cloutier from the Bass Hole, Alan Fong. I'm still going to be in contact with all the shops, but you folks that are out here, some of you 2, 3, 4 times a week, I really rely on your reports. If you have not been sending me reports, make sure you send them to me, and send them. I'm trying to get everybody to ship them right into my Gmail because it's easier for me. I'm getting reports from all kinds of social media, and it's getting hard to read every one of them, and I try to read every one of them, and I try to respond to every one of them. What I'm looking for, if you haven't sent a report, please send a report. You don't have to give anything specific. I'm looking for the tide that you're fishing, the depth that you're fishing, maybe a color, maybe a technique, maybe I'm top water, punching, whatever. So tide, depth, color, and technique. Are you fishing slow? Are you fishing fast? Maybe the time of day that you're fishing. That's all I need. So with that, let's get into the report. I'm going to start with river conditions. They are perfect out here. We're hitting water temperatures of 60 and 61 degrees all over the Delta. I'm getting that temperature down south, up north. As we get more and more stable weather, we're going to have 60, 62, 63 degree temperatures next week. Water clarity, let's just cut to the chase. It's going to be 3 to 6 feet pretty much anywhere you're out here. You may find a little more visibility in some areas, a little less, but 3 to 6 feet. All conditions are perfect. Bass are coming into the shallows. I'm starting to see them. Rod Cloutier has been telling me that he's been seeing them for the last couple weeks. The central Delta, as I pulled up to this spot right here, I saw probably about 4-pound female, or maybe just a big largemouth, coming on to what looks like it's going to be a bed here in the next day or two. So the fish are coming in shallow. We have a full moon coming up tomorrow. With that full moon, we're going to have a better tidal coefficient this next week, and everybody that I know, from Rob to Alan Fong to all of the people that I respect, that I talk to out here, that have history out here, they're saying this could be a huge week with the full moon. One thing that I want to say is there are a lot of people catching fish, and there's still a lot of people that aren't catching fish, and we're going to go over that in a little bit here. So if you're one of those people that aren't catching fish, make sure you stick around because I have some suggestions for you. The first suggestion is, if you're coming from out of town, this is a good week to come in. If you can't make it this week, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that everyone knows that on a full moon this time of year, a lot of fish will come in, and there will be a flight of fish come into the shallows to spawn. There's also another flight of fish that will come in on no moon. Maybe not as many as the full moon, but there's a definite push at the no moon. So if you can't get out here this week and you're from out of town, you're looking when should I come to the Delta, you can't get out for a couple weeks, look to be out around when we have no moon. It's going to be in a couple weeks, obviously. So check that out, and that will be another good time to get out here. I'll start off with a quick striper report from Jeff Suhu from Suhu Sport Fishing. And Jeff has been out here, he's locating fish all over, and he's catching fish on glide baits. Jeff's suggestion is find your A or B spot, and you really want to be at that spot during the high outgo tide, the first hour or two. That's a key for him, is the tide. High tide, going out the first couple hours with glide baits, be on your number one spot, and you should catch some fish. And that's all I'm going to say about stripers. So that's Jeff Suhu from Suhu Sport Fishing. Let's get into largemouth bass. Been getting a ton of reports, and it's very easy to ball all these reports into basically one report because they all say the same, and that is a good thing because their patterns are coming up. That means the river's stabilizing, the fish are doing what they should do, and a lot of people are patterning them. I'll start off with Rob Cloutier's report from the Bass Hole. He had a great day Tuesday, caught some big fish. All of his fish were on, well, not all of them. The majority of his fish were on worms. His second and third option was crankbaits and chatterbaits, but he caught most of them on worms, and that has been basically a pattern throughout the Delta. Before I go on to my next report, I also want to say, man, I'm sorry that I didn't get on the information a couple of weeks ago, but Rob out at the Bass Hole last Sunday had a tackle swap, and I found out about it a little bit late to announce it, but I got out there on Sunday, and I really had a great time. There was bait makers out there, guys selling stuff that they didn't want, other guys buying stuff that the other people didn't want, and it was just a great community thing for the bass fishing community. I talked to Rob, and Rob's going to try to do this twice a year, spring and fall. Next fall, I'll get the information, and I will definitely announce when they're going to have this tackle swap. So everybody, I mean, we all have stuff that we want to get rid of. You can go out there and get yourself a table, get rid of some of the stuff that you don't need, maybe pick up some other stuff. The shop's always open. You'll be able to meet some really interesting bait makers and check their stuff out, and just a really good thing. And I'm really hoping I'm going to be pushing this because it's something that the bass fishing community needs out here, and that's that tackle swap. So let's get back into the reporting. Alan Fong from Alan Fong Outdoors, and he's reporting the same thing. He's not throwing worms, he's throwing creature baits, but he's still moving them slowly along the bottom and doing very well. A lot of people are catching big fish and lots of fish with worms, slow moving baits, or maybe punching. The secondary pattern is going to be either crankbaits or chatterbaits, and I have also got a couple people, just a couple, it's not on yet, but it could be on any day, especially after this water temperature gets to 60 degrees, is topwater. So we're going to start hearing some topwater bites, whether it's frogging or, I like to throw pop-Rs and smaller walking baits this time of year. That's going to come into play too. But you really want to think about throwing the bottom bouncing baits. That's what I've been doing all week, and I've been doing well. It's not wide open, but I'm plugging along and catching fish. But the thing of it is, several things. Everyone is saying the same thing. It's either at the first hour or two of the moving tide. If it's a high tide and it's starting to go out, you want to be in your spot at that first hour or two of the high outgoing tide. Likewise, if you have a low tide, the minute it starts to come in, give yourself that period of an hour or two, the first part of the tide. That's when the fish have been most active. My suggestion, if you haven't been catching fish, is to move quickly but fish slowly. So I'm moving my boat quickly, but when I'm keeping the baits moving slow. And the key that pretty much everyone has been saying is they're hitting a lot of spots and only a couple spots are kicking. And the guys that are really catching fish, like Alan and Rob and some of these guys that are winning tournaments, it's because they have a lot of history out here. So when they're moving through these spots quickly, they may have 50 spots that are 100 yards long, and they may move through 70 yards of that 100-yard bank real quick, and then their pattern is going to be on 30 feet of that bank, and they will catch 3 or 4 fish. Now, if you can find 2 or 3 spots like that during the course of a day, that's going to be the difference between having a good day and having a skunk or a 1 or 2 fish day. So if you don't have a lot of experience out here, that is just part of the learning curve. What you can do to expand that learning curve quickly is when you get on the river, find a tule bank, run it, fast, fish it slow with bottom bouncing baits, and if you don't get anything, move on to whether you're a tule bank to a rock bank. Keep changing around, and it really is important to really put in a good full day, because half a day out here, you may just fish the wrong tide or the wrong half a day. I have really found when I fish a half a day, I'm cutting myself out of some of the best fishing. So what I've been trying to do is put in a 6 or 8 hour day, and I'm finding that the bulk of my fish, as usual, are always going to come in short windows of opportunity that we have out here. So take that into consideration. Just throw throw crawdad colors. If you watch my video, power pitching, that's what I've been doing, and I've really been focusing in on the type of technique that I'm doing when it comes to worming. I have 4 worm rods on my deck, a Nico style, a weightless, and a couple of T-rigs, and I'm finding that during the course of the day, maybe when the tide's not moving, the Nico style is really working. Once that tide starts moving, I got to put a little weight on it, get it to the bottom, and move it slowly along the bottom, and that works better. So I'm dialing into one technique at a time. I haven't been throwing a lot of chatterbaits, I haven't been throwing a lot of crankbaits, but I am getting a fish or 2 when I do that, and sooner or later I'm going to start switching over to those faster moving baits. Most of my baits, or most of my fish, are coming in 6 feet of water. A few fish are moving up, and I suspect that by the time you look at the report, there's going to be a lot of fish in the shallows. Everybody's reporting more and more fish in the shallows. My suggestion is to start in 5 or 6 feet of water, especially at low tide. As the tide moves up, you can try to fish a little shallower, but the bulk of the fish and the easier fish to catch are going to be in 5 or 6 feet of water with a slow moving Cinco, green pumpkin red flake, all the standard colors that you like. So I hope that helps you guys get maybe a little plan together for this weekend, so you can put a pattern together. Keep pushing through this. The fishing is going to get better, and it's going to get easier for you guys that aren't catching fish. I know it's frustrating to hear that other people are catching fish, but keep at it. It's going to get better. You're going to catch some fish. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you guys next week. Good luck.